If killing for gold isn't getting us anywhere, maybe we try doing some good this time?
Boring.
Hello, I'm your host Stephanie Willams, and welcome to Prime Video Recaps. Today I'm recapping the beloved Amazon Prime original series, Legend of Vox Machina. I'll be going over Season 1 to help catch you up before the highly anticipated Season 2 premiere on January 20th. The Legend of Vox Machina is set in a mystical fantasy realm full of magic mayhem and a number of foes. The series follows a group of roaming rule breakers who love a good time at the bar. They pride themselves on being coin over character, but their philosophies are challenged when they become the sworn protectors of the realm. They are put to the test against some of the greatest threats the kingdom has ever seen. And without further ado, let's get into the Season 1 recap. Season 1, Episode 1, The Terror of Tal'Dorei. The series premiere episode begins with the Tal'Dorei Council discussing an ongoing, unknown threat that could completely destroy the crops that feed Iman. The council is deeply frustrated as previous mercenary groups have failed, which forces them to expand their search for better capable hands who could take care of the situation. Meanwhile, the Vox Machina group is at a bar having a drinking contest. Things go severely left and they find themselves kicked out of the very last tavern in Iman. They're at their lowest and desperate for coin. This leads them to going hungover to the palace with the help wanted sign. Vox Machina are given a chance by the sovereign Uriel, who loves the fact that they have a bear. The party ventures out to find out who or what has been destroying the crops when they finally come in contact with a massive blue dragon. They barely survive the attacks thanks to Keyleth using her magic to hide them until the dragon leaves. The encounter almost makes the party abandon their mission, but Pike tries to convince them to stay and attempt to help the people in the village, but they decline. Vex then explains the pain she felt in her head, which indicates someone on the council is working with the dragon, which makes most of the group decide never to return to Iman for their safety. However, when Vox Machina returns to the village near the dragon attacks, they find it destroyed. Episode 2, The Terror of Tal'Dorei Part 2. General Krieg rallies the arms of Iman at the military encampment, most of which are killed during the night when the blue dragon attacks. Vox Machina reports back to the council to tell them it's a blue dragon, but they already knew that. The team suspects it's Gregory Fence since he looks super shady. They then split up in preparation of taking down both Fence and the dragon. Vax and Pike visit Gilmore's Glorious Goods, where Sean Gilmore reads an excerpt to them on how a dragon can be killed. Grog and Scanlan are the ones to follow Fence as he has a drink at the local tavern and goes to the home of General Krieg. Grog and Scanlan notify the rest of the team. They break in, suspecting Fence is trying to assassinate Krieg, but it's actually Krieg who killed Fence in front of them. Krieg disappears into another room. The team follows him, but they can't find him anywhere. They discover a portal in the room thanks to Grog and Keyleth. Once on the other side, the team encounters Krieg again. This time he reveals himself as the Blue Dragon and does a grand speech about how it's time for the dragons who rule to take over once again. Vox Machina takes him on, struggling for a bit until they finally do what they do best, acting like a group of selfish jerks. They defeat the dragon after it dawns on Vax that the excerpt Sean shared with them was talking about the dragon's neck. The team is rewarded with an honorary membership on the council and ownership of a nearby keep. They get invited to a banquet where various dignitaries are already on the way to Iman to attend. Episode 3, The Feast of Realms. The night before the banquet, Percy is having a nightmare about the night assassins slaughtered his family. He and his sister try to flee, but she is shot down by multiple arrows. Percy, thinking she's dead, continues running. Later, when Vox Machina arrives at the banquet, Percy's past comes back to haunt him in full force as those responsible for what happened to his family are there, Delilah and Silas Briarwood. Vex notices Percy's panic, which leads to the team getting up to speed on Percy's past dealings with the Briarwoods. Things continue to spiral as the Vox team is seated across from them during the banquet. Meanwhile, Vax is in the Briarwood's room where he finds the book mentioning the Whispered One. The Briarwoods return to their room, forcing him to jump through the window. Vex realizes her brother is in danger, so the group collects their weapons and go outside to help him. The team faces off with the Briarwoods, who escape before anyone is fully aware of what's going on. Percy ends up shooting the fingers off the Briarwoods' carriage driver, Desmond, which leads to the team getting arrested. Episode 4, Shadows at the Gates. Vox Machina is on the outs with the Sovereign Euro. Vex tells Allura that he is under mind control by Silas Briarwood and that she can get proof, but the team is placed on house arrest. While stuck in the house, Pike deals with her dimmed holy symbol and Scanlan tries to read Lady Briarwood's book. The team presses Percy about his outburst, which leads to him going into more detail regarding his history with the Briarwoods. Meanwhile, Delilah realizes her book is missing while she and her husband are returning to Whitestone. The Briarwoods stop at a nearby graveyard where Delilah casts a necromantic spell to create undead servants. Percy finds a secret passage for the team to escape through, but Pike finds herself unable to light the way, so it's up to Keyleth. After they're discovered by Jared, the team is split up into separate rooms. Pike attempts to reach the Everlight through prayer and meditation, but is unable to. The undead wraiths sent by Delilah attack the guards watching over the Vox team, killing most of them before Keyleth can create bright sunlight to defeat the remaining wraiths. Afterwards, Jared agrees to let the team go as they promise to go after those responsible for killing his guards. Pike leaves the group to visit the temple in hopes of regaining her connection with the Everlight. Episode 5, Faith's Journey. Before escaping Iman, Vox Machina sneaks into Gilmore's glorious goods to gather supplies, but they are caught by Sean, who gives them holy water to help fight vampires. The team then starts their journey riding a stolen horse cart. While on the cart, Keyleth tries to decipher Delilah's book and comes to the conclusion that the Briarwoods are planning to do something with the Ziggurat, a triangle temple. The team is attacked the deeper they get into the woods on the way to Whitestone, and they lose all of their supplies that they got from Gilmore's. The creature sent by Delilah also managed to get her book back and return it to her. With her book returned, Delilah and Silas discussed refining the ritual with Byron Anders and Kyrian Stonefell. Pike is welcomed warmly by the cleric at the temple after explaining how she is trying to reconnect with the Everlight. And then, when Vox Machina arrives in Whitestone, they are in search of the keeper Yennin, as she knows what to do regarding the Briarwoods. As the team ventures further into the city, they must dodge guards and stone giants. Percy notices the sun tree is strung up with corpses of the Briarwood dinner guests dressed up as the Vox Machina members. Episode 6, Spark of Rebellion. Vox Machina finds Whitestone's holy leader, Keeper Yennin, who updates them on all the happenings in Whitestone since the Briarwoods took over, making everyone's life a living hell. The team goes in search of the rebel leader, Archibald Desmond, and soon find out that they have to stage a prison break because he is being held in a prison. At the Temple of Everlight, Pike continues trying to find her deity but is unsuccessful. The team manages to find Archie. Scanlan is captured by Stonefell but escapes. Percy confronts Stonefell after going after him and then kills him to take his vengeance. Stonefell's name disappears after Percy kills him. Vax isn't happy with Percy because he put the mission in danger by going after Stonefell. Archie tells Percy that his sister is still alive. Episode 7, Scanbow. There is a flashback to a time when Anders tutored Percy and Cassandra, which gives some insight as to how he grew to hate their parents. Back to the present, Percy tells the team about his life shortly after he escaped the Briarwoods. It is during this time he created the gun and is wreathed in black smoke. Keyleth communes with the sun tree and receives a vision of necromantic magic and its roots. Vox Machina makes their attempt to save Cassandra, which involves Scanlan volunteering himself as a distraction. Scanlan sneaks into the window of the Vidmeyer property, leading to him running through the house and causing nothing but sheer mayhem. Scanlan ends up on the roof against the Duke, who corners him, but he manages to escape. The team makes their way to find where Cassandra is being held. Percy finds Anders in his study, and that is actually where he has Cassandra the whole entire time. Percy threatens to shoot him with his gun, but Anders slits Cassandra's throat, leaving her to bleed out. Episode 8, A Silver Tongue. We pick up with Pike in the middle of a ritual in the Temple of Everlight. She fails to contact her deity, but decides to continue even after the pleading of the head cleric for her to stop. In Whitestone, Keyleth and Vax run to save Cassandra and are successful. Anders escapes into a darkened library and uses his silver tongue to command several suits of armor to defend him against Percy's attacks. Switching back to the temple with Pike, she is caught again by thorns of darkness and is pulled through to the other side where she is confronted by the Everlight. Back with Anders, he uses his silver tongue to control everyone but Percy, and they attack him. Percy manages to kill Anders, freeing the rest of the team from his hold. Cassandra and Percy finally have a moment to get caught up with one another. He apologizes for leaving her, and she tells him how the Briarwoods kept her alive as a figurehead, but she's been working as a double agent for the Resistance. After finding the chart used for the solstice, Keyleth writes the Del Rollo crest in the sky, which prompts Lady Briarwood to kill her steward for use in necromantic ritual to raise more for her army of the dead. Meanwhile, with Pike in the temple, she explains how she is struggling with what she believes is right. The Everlight tells her that she must be truthful with herself and that any path can be a holy one, and she must choose what that is for her. Back to Whitestone, the city is under full-fledged attack by the undead. Episode 9, The Tide of Bone. There is a flashback to how Silas and Delilah Briarwood became who we know them as. Silas was dying, so Delilah went out searching for a way to save her husband. She finds the Book of Necromancy, which allows her to bring Silas back, but he is subsequently turned into a vampire as a result. In the present day, Vox Machina and the rest of the Whitestone villagers try to fend off the undead. Vex tells everyone to escape and regroup at the Sun Tree, but as they do, they run into even more undead and the Duke, who is still after Scanlan. Archie is murdered by him. With everyone cornered, Keyleth ends up summoning power to freeze a bunch of the undead, allowing the rest of the team to escape to the Sun Tree. Once at the Sun Tree, they continue to hold off the dead, but as things get dire, Vax tells Keyleth that he loves her. Pike shows up in an astral form at the very last moment to help defeat the undead and heal Scanlan's arm. Leaving the rebels to deal with the Duke and the remaining undead, Vox Machina enters the dungeon of the Briarwoods, where they find none other than Anna Ripley. Episode 10, Deaths of Deceit. Percy is ready to kill Anna as we get a flashback to how she used to torture him and Cassandra for the Briarwoods. The team tries to plead with him to wait, as Dr. Anna Ripley may be the key to helping them find the Briarwoods. The team then presses Percy about the smoke that seems to consume him before he pulls the trigger of his gun. Pike tries to find out the cause and determines it is a demon. During the interrogation of Dr. Ripley, she tells them about the Briarwood's ultimate goals and how she objected to them, which led to her imprisonment. She also informs the team that the Ziggurat is under the castle where they must go. The group is attacked again by undead while making their way toward the Ziggurat, but the team finally makes it to the refinery. Cassandra's name appears on Percy's gun, which prompts him to finally notice that his sister is standing on the opposite side of the doorway. Vax manages to slip under the glass before it closes. The Briarwoods finally appear, revealing that Cassandra was always under their control, and now Vax will be too. Meanwhile, the group is left to deal with not burning alive in acid as levels of it rise in the room. A distraught Percy finally snaps out of it in time to figure out how to save them, and the team survives. Episode 11, Whispers at the Ziggurat. Lady Briarwood prepares for a ritual at the Ziggurat, while the team plans a rescue for Cassandra and Vax. Dr. Ripley gets away, which leads to Percy having a fight with himself, or really more so the Orthrax that's controlling him. The team take on the Briarwoods, which leads to several different battles going on at the same time. Keyleth is unsure what to do, but finally decides to reach out to the roots of the Sun Tree to ask for help. She then creates sunlight, which allows them to defeat Silas. Meanwhile, Delilah enters the temple and calls out to the Whispered One, asking him to honor her service and their deal. Percy shoots at Delilah while still possessed by the Orthrax. Keyleth jumps in front of the necromantic spell Delilah hurls at Vex, and nearly dies from doing so. A robed skeleton figure appears on the altar, and green lightning shoots up through the ziggurat into the roots of the sun tree across white stone before it flickers out. The figure then disappears, leaving a spinning orb that crackles with purple lightning. Meanwhile, Percy finally hits Delilah with a shot from his gun, but she is not killed by her wounds. Pike tries to save Keela, but her astral projection suddenly evaporates, leaving Vax to act quickly to save Keela. Episode 12, The Darkness Within. Scanlan realizes the spinning orb prevents magic from working, so the group moves Keela to the refinery, but her condition continues to worsen. Vax, with Scanlan's help, uses Keela's herbs to save her the same way she saved Cassandra. Percy is still in battle with the Orthrax, who is set on getting the revenge it was promised against Delilah, who tells Cassandra she was abandoned by the Whispered One. Percy threatens Delilah again and is overtaken by the Orthrax. The team battles Percy as he tries to hold off the Orthrax. He eventually breaks the demon's hold by shooting his own hand. Cassandra is the one to kill Delilah, stating she couldn't forgive her, but she's glad that Percy could. Scanlan throws Percy's gun into the acid, revealing that the Orthrax was still possessing it. Cassandra stays to lead the people of Whitestone. Keela tells Vax she isn't in a place to return his love right now, and everyone is unaware of the spinning orb, killing one of the holy men Yenin sent to check it out. And at the very end, Saban cedes power to the council, and as our heroes return to Emon, they look up into the sky as 4 massive dragons appear flying toward the palace. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about Season 1, The Legend of Vox Machina. Don't forget, Season 2 will premiere on Prime Video on January 20th. Once again, my name is Stephanie Williams, and thank you so much for watching Prime Video Recaps.